Dear learners, hope you remember what we discussed in the last unit. We were working on qualitative research techniques, and in the last module we discussed phenomenology and grounded theory approach in qualitative researches. Today I will be taking you through case study, ethnomethodology, symbolic interaction and semiotics. These four different approaches used by qualitative researchers according to different context. Let us study each techniques one by one. You must have heard about case studies. In your MBA or your graduation, teachers would distribute case study, and these case studies describe the particular studies, a particular research or observation on the performance of an organization or certain issues that an organization face, or in terms of crisis, different crises an organization face and how they get out of this crisis. Case study is a qualitative research technique, and in is one of the researcher who's contributed a lot for the development of case study research, and in tourism and hospitality management too we use case studies. So what are the key features of case study researches? Let us look into it. Case study deals with a contemporary context. It could be single or multiple cases that a researcher addressing upon. Some researchers' point of view is that case study is a strategy of inquiry, not a method. So what is the distinct features of case study? The first aspect is we have to identify a case to be studied which has some uniqueness, or there will be specific issues, and the purpose is to get an in-depth understanding of the case. So you must have got an idea that case studies are used in researches to describe a particular situation, one organization or multiple organization undergo at a particular point of time, and the strategies adopted by the organization to control the situation or win over the situation. Describing this in a systematic way we can call a case study. So how we conduct case studies? The first part is to identify a case, and second is describe the case in a proper manner, and the third level is describe the chronology of events, then describe the similarities and differences as the outcome of your observations, end with conclusions. So here the conclusions is the meaning identified by the researcher. So let us take an example from the tourism and hospitality industry. We all heard about the performance of hotels or resorts. So let us take the case of a resort which is operated in an island. Let us take the example of Lakshadweep Islands here. So Lakshadweep Islands, which attract tourists because of the beaches and opportunities for underwater sports. So in the last year Lakshadweep attracted a lot of visitors after our Honorable Prime Minister visited Lakshadweep Islands, and tourism is one of the focal area of the administration too. So what is the case here? If a company is interested in investing in establishing resorts with adventure sport activities, then they can think about a potential destination as Lakshadweep. So, here another comparison that we can take, that lot of Indian tourists visit Thailand, Indonesia for resort based tourism, that is either beach destinations or exclusive resorts, integrated resorts where all facilities are available. So, now the question arises here is, do we have integrated resorts? So, the case is the resorts which are operated in India are generally attracting tourists and they spend some time, then they leave the resort. We do not have many examples in India as integrated resorts. That resort include attractions, different activities for tourists, and that also include hospitality and stay or other event related activities. So, now when we look the location we can take island destination as Lakshadweep, and here the organization, let us take any corporate organization which is involved in tourism business. We have Club Mahindra Resorts or we have Taj Group, right? Different companies operate. So, next question arises that the future of resort based tourism in Lakshadweep. The companies which already invested in resorts, whether it is Club Mahindra or take the example of Taj. Say for example, Taj or Club Mahindra, they want to invest in a new property in Lakshadweep. They analyze the existing situations, that is number one, opportunities for growth, and number two, their existing resorts performance at similar destinations. Then accordingly they can devise a plan. So, this is one of the easiest example I would like to share with you all. Let us take another example, tourism development corporations of different states in India. You heard about Jammu and Kashmir Tourism Development Corporation or Uttar Pradesh Tourism Development Corporations. These corporations run hotels, they also operate buses or they have different activity zones, tourism activity zones. So, if a researcher want to study or compare two organizations, that is, let us take the example of Jammu and Kashmir Tourism Development Corporation and take the another example like Himachal Pradesh Tourism Development Corporation, where we can compare the performances of these two organizations on the basis of how they run high altitude resorts and how they maintain profit, how they handle guest queries, how they address guest grievances, and how successful their operation is altogether. So, I hope the second example is more illustrative and meaningful when we take as a kind of case study. The second method is ethnomethodology. Let us see what is meant by ethnomethodology. Harold Garfinkel, who is the founder of ethnomethodology, it focuses on the routine or details of everyday life. Wallace and Wolf defines ethnomethodology as how members of a group make sense of their social world. According to Patton, people do not even think about why they do what they do. I hope you understood it. So, here ethnomethodology refers to the behavior of people in a group. So, let us see how a study in ethnomethodology deals with. Ethnomethodologists observe and document naturally occurring experiments with people. and the way study is conducted is observation and interview with the participants, how they learn to become a routinely functioning member of a group. The example given here is ethnomethodologist observe the group and how individuals adapt to certain situations. For example, a newly inducted employee, how that employee adapt to that situation in the work environment. A new job, if somebody joins, they have to see, learn and also meet different people. So, what extent in natural situations the employee adapt. Another example given is like we all enter in lift in a building. Multiple story buildings have lift and we enter in the lift. Everybody stands in a particular direction towards the door, and imagine somebody is facing on the other side, not standing towards the door. That is a different kind of behavior. So, the ethnomethodologist would be all of a sudden like asking that individual, what you observed, why did you do that? Same thing which we can take up in different context in tourism industry too. In ethnomethodology, context plays an important role. Here the researcher is approaching the case without any bias or any preconceptions, and the situation is carefully observed, and then the meaning is made out of such interactions or experiences. Point out that ethnomethodology is widely used in conversation analysis post 1980s. Conversation analysis is considered to be as one of the best tool in ethnomethodology. The next method that we discuss here is symbolic interaction. Symbolic interaction is grounded in social psychology. George Herbert Mead and Herbert Blumer, they are identified as the contributors of researches on symbolic interaction. It highlights the importance of meaning and interpretation as essential human process. So, here one question, if you look into the screen, you can see what common set of symbols and understandings have emerged to give meaning to people's interactions. So, we interact with different people, we come across different scenarios. So, ultimately how this signal to meaning making process. The data collection process in symbolic interaction include interviews, observations and field notes. Field notes play an important role in qualitative researches, especially in the area of symbolic interaction. And the next area is semiotics. Semiotics is emerged as a very important part of research in the recent years. According to Patton, semiotics is an inquiry framework, blends linguistics and social sciences. We use different signs that includes words and symbols to communicate, and that is according to different context. So, what are the implications of those signs for human belief, behavior and interactions? So, semiotics is originally rooted in linguistics, and social scientists consider semiotics as an important part of human behavior because the expressions, verbal or non-verbal expressions, that indicates certain meanings, and that could be again rooted in human experiences. I would like to present some example how we can work on semiotics. Here we all use mobile phones and we are quite acquainted with WhatsApp, Telegram or other social networking sites. So, the emojis that we use to indicate different meanings at different occasions. So, who taught us to use emojis, and what prompt us to use a particular emoji on a particular context? And let us take it with the tourism and hospitality context. You must have seen reviews. Tourists who use a facility, whether it is hotel, airline or cab, they are asked to give a review. So, the easiest way to give our view is star rating. That means if we are satisfied, 5 star, somewhat satisfied, 4 star, not at all, we will not even give a star, we make them like not satisfactory. But what about certain images that we want to upload? That means happiness or anger or about certain situations that the organization could not address. So, this analysis plays a very important role in modern tourism and hospitality business. Semiotics, that involves the way human beings express at a different context, whether physically or in virtual world, whether it is social media or the user applications. This all conveys specific meaning. So, understanding the meaning and finding the interpretation, making the interpretation out is, we can connect it with tourism and hospitality and semiotics. To conclude, we have seen ethnomethodology, case study, symbolic interaction and semiotics are as 4 different techniques used in qualitative researches in continuation with the previous modules which we discussed. Let me just brief. We started with ethnography, that is study of cultures, and the second one we studied phenomenology, lived experiences, grounded theory, that is forming theory based upon your data, qualitative data that you have compiled. Then we have seen case study, the study of one case or more than one case, observation of the findings and getting meaning out of it. Then symbolic interactions, then real life situations, how an individual react and behave. Then comes with the semiotics, that means how linguistic features that also play an important role in social studies research. Social scientists use semiotics as a tool for conducting social science research. So, with this we come to a conclusion of different techniques that is used by qualitative researchers, and in hospitality and tourism segment this all plays very important role. I have already given enough examples in this module and the previous modules about how we can use these tools. When you work out on your dissertation or maybe your PhD thesis, you may look upon a particular method which would be appropriate for you. It depends upon the area that you are working and the context that you are studying. Most popularly used methods are ethnography, phenomenology, and we can see grounded theories. Case studies are normally used to analyze the performance of organizations or observing certain situations, ground realities and situations. So, it is up to the researcher to identify and choose the right method to conduct the research. If you have any queries, please feel free to contact me, and I hope you had a good learning session. Thank you.